Have you ever subscribed to a streaming service specifically for one of their latest releases? Well, if you did, you wouldn't be alone. From Disney Plus releasing Hamilton to HBO Max dropping Wonder Woman, a lot of people in the US joined these platforms just for these releases and then abandoned their subscriptions within 6 months. That got us wondering, with so many streaming options, how exactly are streaming services keeping people around for longer than a month? I mean, we aren't exactly being asked to sign up for year-long subscriptions. First, let's start with looking at people's viewing habits. Hub Entertainment research data shows that in 2021, 40% of consumers were using 3 or more of the top 5 streaming platforms, compared to 28% just a year ago. So, what are the top 5 streaming platforms? Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, and HBO Max. That study also reports that only a quarter of people plan to replace the streaming services they've dropped with new ones. This naturally makes it harder for newer platforms that come into the market. Last year, there was an estimated 600 million streaming subscribers, so that's a lot of eyes to compete for. According to Wells Fargo data, streaming platforms are likely to spend over $140 billion on content in 2022. That's a 10% jump from the year before. Disney is leading this spending, which includes both Disney Plus and Hulu. But who's cashing in on their investment the most? Hard to say. I mean, just look at some of the original content we've gotten so far this year. Netflix has their new season of Ozark, a fan favorite. Then you have Pam and Tommy on Hulu, which is making headlines this week, brushing up a whirlwind, slightly toxic love story from the 90s. HBO Max has season 2 of the dark teenage drama Euphoria. Meanwhile, people around the world are singing songs from Encanto, the newest kids movie on Disney Plus. There is such a wide variety today, and that's part of why we're seeing so many people switch it up. But it's not all about original content. Back in 2019, both HBO Max's deal for The Big Bang Theory and Netflix's acquisition of Seinfeld were said to be worth about $500 million for 5 years. How much streaming services were willing to spend really underscores how important popular reruns are to those streaming services. Hit shows often retain audience acclaim for years after they first run, which means when a streaming service gets one, fans often follow. And now there's even sports fans to fight over, with services like Hulu, Amazon Prime, and Paramount streaming certain football games, and Peacock having the Olympics on demand. It's clear with the wide variety of content in the works each year, streaming services try to appeal to everyone with at least one show or movie, but there's one group of the population that they really have their eyes on, and it might surprise you. You know what it is? Kids. Children's television is one of the most in-demand genres today. Entertainment correspondent Casey Mendoza talks to experts about the state of children's programming.
There's Mr. Potato!
Yeehaw! Yay! There's 2 of them!
There's a battle going on in the streaming wars, not just for the next Game of Thrones or the next Squid Game, but the next Spongebob Squarepants.
It's crazy. During the pandemic, I was busy. I just finished writing the entire first season of Stan Lee's Superhero Kindergarten, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I just started a new show called Shaq's Garage, which is about Shaquille O'Neal and all his crazy cars.
That's writer Stephen Banks. If you were a kid or a parent in the 90s and early 2000s, then you're probably already familiar with some of his works.
I wrote on Cat Dog, Jimmy Neutron, and then I was head writer of Spongebob Squarepants for about 6 years.
Spongebob Squarepants, which has been around for over 20 years, is essentially a children's TV classic today, with 2 spin-offs airing right now to draw in more fans. Banks credits the popularity of the series and other popular kid shows to the characters.
It's characters. It's the characters you want to spend time with. You want to spend time with SpongeBob and Patrick because they're funny, you like them. You want to spend time with Cat Dog because they're this crazy combination.
In today's franchise-driven entertainment industry, streaming platforms like Netflix, Disney Plus, and the streaming home of Nickelodeon, Paramount Plus, are all wanting to get in on the kids' game. Streaming analyst Parrot Analytics said the demand for children's content surged 58% between the start of 2020 and the fall of 2021. And last year, it was Disney Plus that had the most streamed movies: Luca, Moana, Raya and the Last Dragon, and Frozen 2. All of these titles were strengthened by families, adults included, watching at home with the kids.
I got the glow!
As the pandemic continues, it's no surprise that kids stuck at home are driving streaming numbers. And as long as that continues, streaming platforms are going to continue competing for their attention. Casey Mendoza, Newsy.